Whoa! And we're hot. We're live. Just... Well, shit, I don't know, man. Can we have a little bit of a positive video this time, or is this gonna keep being negative? I have no idea. We'll find out once I start speaking, huh? So, as I've finished up the writing for the next Forgotten episode, and I've kind of taken a break, and I got an old computer, found it for $5 It's got Windows 98 on it, and something really cool. It has, back in the day, see, there was a long time ago where you could just have something, pay for it one time, and that was it. Well, that doesn't exist anymore. So, as I write now, I use Microsoft Word, or what is it called now? 365 or some shit. And it costs a monthly subscription. Or you could pay yearly, or whatever it is. And I'm like, this is fucking retarded. I'm sick of wasting money on this. I just walked into an estate sale, and there's this old computer sitting there. And I was like, I gotta get this, because this may have, back in the day, Microsoft Word on it, or Microsoft Works. I got it. It did not run at all. I opened it up. I cleaned it. Guess what? Runs perfectly fine. There is nothing wrong with it. It is fucking cool. And all I did was, when I got it, the lady, she put 2 discs in there. One was the, I forgot what they call the operating system, Windows 98. The other one was Microsoft Works. I was like, are you fucking kidding me? So now I can write for free and not have to pay a monthly subscription. The only thing is, I gotta figure out how to get that off of there and on to something else. We'll figure that out at a later time. So that's something cool now. As I was doing that, I was just kind of fucking around on it, and I'm actually writing something very interesting. I don't really even know what it is, but it's in the universe of the Forgotten series, and it's the story of Harrius from a different point of view. Maybe I'll publish that as like a small novel in of itself. We're not even there yet. But anyway, that's kind of what I've been up to. I've been just enjoying that and having a nice time. Not having to fucking be Jewed every goddamn penny that I have, you know. I could totally go negative about this. I feel like, oh man, let me talk to you about how fucked up it is to, you know, subscriptions and payments and companies nowadays. Like, but you already know that. You already know that everyone's just after your money and they don't give a flying fuck about you. So we don't need to get into that. We need to keep this one a little positive. How do we keep it positive? Well, we talk about things that matter to us. And the biggest thing that matters to me right now is, I mean, besides like personal things, I would say the journey. I don't know, it's always the fucking journey. You know, life is that though, isn't it? No matter what you do or what you experience, or your job, or, you know, just the life you live, it is truly a fucking journey, you know, isn't it? So that what? It's like so many different pathways we could have gone down, and you've chosen a certain amount to get you to where you are now. And you can look at it like, you know, very negatively or very positively, or you can be neutral about it, or you can be a realist about it, or you can fantasize. Whatever you want to do, you can do that with your life. You can just be whatever you want to be, but feel the way that you want to feel about being that way. You could be a computer programmer and hate yourself, or you could be an archaeologist and love your work. You know, it was up to you from the beginning, and then you can get yourself to that point. A lot of the times it was hard for us as people to get out of the mindset that I'm not in control of my life. It's other people that can dictate my advancement or my intelligence or what have you. And as you can clearly see, if you look at me, a lot of the times in the past, that's how I expressed it as well. That was just, I don't know, I thought that too, and I still kind of do, you know, I'm a human. And I don't know necessarily why, if that's like a social conditioning kind of thing, if that's just because we are social beings and we are, I don't want to say dictated, but we become whatever is needed for a society, and so we kind of need some prime directive. Maybe that has something to do with it. I don't necessarily know. I've never like studied this, but I can say that that makes a lot of sense to me, that you are what you think you need to be for however you define society. And that's an interesting concept in and of itself, society. Like, I don't know how well you have, like, in your life studied history, you know, at least mainstream history, you know, from a European perspective to, you know, America and all that stuff. Middle East and, you know, all that. But it's quite interesting how it's like we've created a foundation so long ago. We'll call that civilization. You know, you think of Uruk in Mesopotamia, you think of the ancient Chinese civilizations that I don't understand because I don't know Oriental history. And you think of, like, it was created, it became what it was, the first civilization. Holy crap, this is crazy. Human beings are now living lives vastly different than they've ever done before. We've formed communities. We don't have these tedious, like, jobs in the sense that used to be. Now we're, like, keeping this machine alive. And I often wonder if civilization in and of itself is a consciousness. It has to be, right? Because, I don't know, the American people, right? You know, the British, you know, like, that doesn't really make sense. Like, if you were to take yourself out of being a human being for a moment, and I tell you, like, yeah, the British people, you'd be like, what does that fucking mean? The collective of Britain? What the fuck is that? How can you decide everything from them? It's a very strange idea. And so, like, that's something that I've been really hyper focused on, and I'm just gonna say it like I've been mind blown about this because I'm just wrapping my fucking head around it. Because I add that idea and I add this other one of, like, the sunken cost fallacy in a very vague sense, not necessarily wholly, however that works. Man. And I'd say, like, you know, we've come from some place. Like, let's connect all ancient civilizations to now. We've come from a point, and we continue to do that. And each culture has its own version of it. You know, London's different than a New York, which is different than a Beijing, which is different than a, I don't know, Iraq, whatever the biggest, Baghdad. But it's all the same concept. It's all the same basic idea, and it's very fascinating to how we can truly believe that this is right and this is what we must do. And there's groups of people that are separate from one another. So you think of the Germanic people as opposed to the Oriental. There's totally different ideas of what civilization is to them, but generally it's the same thing. It's a cluster of fucking buildings we've created, all nestled together in the safety of wherever this landscape is, separate from the nature that exists outside of it. So within it, we find some kind of safety. Because at the end of the day, we're the weakest animals on this fucking planet. Do you know what I mean? Like, if you go out in the woods and you're just left with your own body against nature, well, you're going to find your nails aren't strong enough to fucking do anything. They keep breaking and chipping. Your teeth aren't going to fucking help you. And when you finally kill an animal with your bare hands, you can't even eat it. You get sick and die. You can't drink the water. It's like you don't have enough hair in your body to actually survive winter. If you really think about it, we are not a very strong animal. We are the weakest animal. We can't even survive that shit. Like, you can, but what can you do to do that? Making tools. You have to, like, have some advantage. Every other animal doesn't, like a fox doesn't go like, well, I can't survive the winter unless I make tools and fire. Like, no, he fucking knows how to do it. I can't use these nails to fend off an animal. They're not going to do anything. I can cut you up a little bit. I'm not going to kill you with them. I'm not going to, like, take my fucking teeth and sink into an animal and kill. I could in theory, but my teeth are not like sharp enough. I'm not fast enough. It's just a very strange thing as a human, as an animal. And so we found a way to take that and say, well, fuck this. We literally can't do whatever all these other fuckers are doing. We have to construct some sort of safety net. And that safety net is the city, the civilization. And that's where we gather our own strength. But it's so very strange, isn't it? It's such a strange idea. In a sense, look behind me. All that surrounds me is something made by another person. If I was a craftsman, I could make a lot myself, but I'm not. So everything you see in this room was made by another person. Or machined. But a person made that machine. You know what I mean? How very strange is that? That's mind-blowing to me. Like, that's, wow, I can't believe that I'm surrounded by made-up things. They don't even exist. I mean, they do, but not in nature. And sometimes they can be like replicated from nature. They can represent an idea in nature, but they are not nature themselves. A book does not form from the ground, nor does the bag that's hanging on my door back there, nor does the computer or the lamp. It's just, that's literally someone had to bring it from nothing. And in the past, I remember talking about, I don't know if you remember, the idea of the imaginary, which I think is what we have that's different than, let's say, the animal kingdom, at least as far as I can understand. That is a realm in which we can access and pull from. I don't think an animal can do that, at least to my understanding. The idea would be the computer. I know that that's kind of got a long history of how it came to be, but let's just say that the computer as a whole. Someone had to pull that from the imaginary, a place where nothing exists, but there are these archetypes, there are these blueprints floating around that we may just stumble upon and go, oh my God, I think I have an idea of something I can make. I've used the example for the engine for a vehicle. Someone eventually, and it takes evolution, but someone had the flicker of an idea to say, what if we had a thing that did things for us? What if we had a thinking machine that thought for us? We've always done this, and we've pulled something from another realm and brought it here, and it took thousands of people, possibly hundreds of years of evolution, to finally come up with the boom, cell phone. Done. We've figured it out. We finally got it from the computer that was the size of a fucking room, and we got it down to a little phone. The engine, look at the first engine, like that random firing engine. Bah, bah. Now you look at a modern engine, right? It's interesting. None of that even existed. But somehow we found a way to pull it from the other. And that's why I've always been deeply fascinated with the other realm. Because I don't even know what the fuck that means. You can pull information from somewhere that is not physically tangible. Like, I can't dip my hand in the other realm as far as I know. I can't. There's no way. But I can imagine whatever I want is in that realm. That, to me, to put it really simply, is becoming God. You are reaching your hand in God's toolbox, in the open spaces of it. And this is where I think something else may have happened. I'm not saying this is the case because I have no proof of it, but I'm very curious of this topic I'm about to go into. One, does it, at least to you, does it seem like people's minds and emotions and how they think is changing? Does it seem to you like, talk to someone from a couple generations before you, that they don't think the same as you? That they don't understand their emotions the same as you? Does it feel that way at all sometimes? You ever find that maybe, are we feeling on an emotional level different than we used to? Are we quietly evolving our minds? you can't really prove a lot because you don't know what cultures wanted to keep records of. So if I look at a book that's from the medieval era and it's about a person's life, they don't seem to act and think the way I do. They don't seem to be empathetic in the sense that I can understand it. Does that mean they were incapable? Does that mean that, no, they just didn't see the merit in writing of those things because it was human nature? Did they... I can't think of the word, but it's like they understood this, but they're not... we don't need to talk about it. It's just, that's what it is. Everyone knows what empathy is. Did they even understand how to process their own emotions the way I know how to understand and process mine? Or is that just an illusion that it's because I'm not from that time and there's so many things I need to grasp before I can actually understand? You know, the human language and the human mind has evolved from thousands and thousands of years of human thought. We get to this point because you trace it back far enough and you find that where it grew from. That's like modern religion. You know, it seems so perfect now because look where it grew from. It's had thousands of years to fucking figure out how to become everything you need it to be. Well, the human mind must be that way as well. I don't know though. Like if I think of the year 3000 BC and I learned their language, could I talk to someone in that culture and just be like, how do you feel about this? Like, is that something they even process, or is that like, we don't got time for that shit? I don't know. There is no feeling now. There's only, you know, doing or some shit. Just something I've pondered about quite a bit, and I don't know if that's something or not. I've never studied this. I don't got the time to fucking sit and study every question I have. But it is a quiet thing that I've began to think about and wonder, because is that a direct result? Well, it must be a direct result of having more of this free time because we're in civilization. Look at me, for instance. I don't have to toil for my food in the same sense as I used to. Everything's provided in this environment here. I don't got to go out and do anything. I just got to sit in here, do whatever I want. As long as I go 8 hours a day, 5 days a week to this building, they provide me with enough money to sustain myself with the amenities that I need in this modern era. So with that, I have all this mental free time. I don't have to remember crops. I don't have to remember when to plant. I don't have to know how to hunt an animal properly. I don't need to remember how to do irrigation. Like, it's not taking up my mind. So I'm able to process deep intellectual thoughts or emotional intellectual ponderings, we could say. It could be simply that, I don't know. You know, the more time that you have that's free, the more you begin to question yourself. And that often, in my mind, becomes, well, maybe that's why religion became what it became. It was the first kind of philosophy. Why the fuck am I even here? The minute I am done toiling, I stand up and go, wait a minute, why am I toiling? Could be the basis of religion. And the basis of religion eventually birthed philosophy in a very strange way, you know, because philosophy kind of was very Muslim and Christian. It was interesting. I mean, when you think about it, I don't know. I'm not gonna like say I got any answers to any of this stuff. It's just something I'm thinking about, something different. I just kind of feel really, I'm gonna be honest with this. Sometimes when I talk, I just feel elementary. I feel like the shit I'm saying is either common sense or it just sounds like a fucking 8-year-old. You know what I mean? I almost feel that way about myself because I don't know, I just feel like a child a lot of the times. Like all my thoughts, I feel like it's this, you're gonna find this thought from an 8-year-old, you know? So I don't know, it feels kind of weird to talk about it. That's why I feel a little bit nervous about this kind of stuff. Because a lot of it's already been answered. I just don't know who answered it yet until I find them. A lot of my questions. I don't know, man. I can't really express it more than that. It's just, there's a general curiosity of the world around that I know I can definitely fall into the trap of, where I'm just absolutely astounded by the happenings of whatever it is. You know, whatever we do as a collective people just blows my fucking mind. And how we've gotten to the point in which we exist as opposed to what could have been. Civilization's become what we understand it now, and we're keeping it alive because we think this is the best thing we can do. The very Germanic idea of conquest, because its might is right, seems to pervade everything. Tribalism, you know, from the Irish to the Native American to African tribes to the peoples of South America. That's the old ways. That's the stupid shit. We got to get rid of that. That's the idea that we seem to have as a collective mindset. Now there are people that kind of fight that and say like, no, tribalism, man, like that's the old ways. That's the earth goddess shit. That's the origin of humanity, if you want to say. It's the Gentile way of life, and the other way is like a Semitic way of life. It's this warfare and conflict, destruction and dominance, and you know, all that stuff. Whatever you think about it, but that seems to be the idea of it. But it's like, man, you kind of wonder, what if a certain group of people, whoever it was that really started this might is right idea, you know, that the Romans eventually adopted, that the Greeks eventually adopted, but who before them? I don't know, Phoenicians, I'm not sure. What if that just didn't exist? Where would we be? Can you even define what that means? Would we be better for it, or would we be worse off for it? No idea. I don't know. I wonder about it a lot. I wonder about it because, you know, I think of my ancestors. What if the Irish ancestors that I have didn't have to deal with the stupid shit from Britain? Would I be there then? In a sense, like what would become me? If you understand what I mean, like if my ancestors didn't leave Ireland, what if my other ancestors didn't leave? Well, like my Native American ancestors. What about my African ancestors? I have all those things. And I've become a quiet version of all of them combined. Because through the family ties, there's these little nuggets of the hidden culture. Do you know what I mean? So you know how like you can pick up shit from your parents on accident? You might walk the same as your father. You might have the same laugh as your mother. You might think the same way they do, have the same biases or whatever it is. I think that goes far, far, far back too. Because grandma told mom a story, who heard it from her grandma, who heard it from hers, and all of a sudden, someone like me still has this weird Irish like superstition about fairies. Because I learned that shit from my family. And that's probably come from Ireland. And so I'm still sitting there like, well, you gotta be careful with certain things. You can't just walk in those woods like an asshole. You know what I mean? You gotta be very respectful to certain things. Or the first thought process of when I think something's happening in my house is a fairy, I'm like, well, what are they doing? You know, like that's some part of me that certain people don't have. Because they're like, what the fuck? There's no such thing. There's only logic and science, you know? So it's an interesting kind of juxtaposition. But what has made me a person with all my ancestors? What has a Native American ancestor brought to me? Somebody was with a Native American person and it's in my blood. How has that affected me? How has the Nigerian blood that's in me affected me? How has the Norwegian blood? Do you see what I'm saying? Like, what made me and all these cultures created the sense of how I identify? What am I carrying forward? For some time, I've quietly began to realize that I have to come to terms with each part of this. Because I don't know these ancestors. I don't know who the Norwegian guy, like the blood, the DNA, I guess. It's hard to say because that's how DNA works. I don't know who that could have been. I don't know who the Scottish guy or the Welsh person could have been in my blood. I don't know them. So I kind of, in my world, I said, well, let's learn about these places and see if something sticks. And if something sticks, that's something that we have to solve. Because I think about myself as a person, and I'm a direct result of conquest. Well, because I'm English. Well, I'm Welsh. Well, I'm Scottish. I'm Irish. I'm Norwegian. I'm Native American. I'm Nigerian. Like, that's conquest. Like, that's a bunch of people getting together, and now I'm here, this mixed person. That, like, you can't even define what race I am. You just gotta say, well, he's white, because I don't know what he is. He's a bunch of different white people that went like this. Throw in a couple different other races, and here he is. How the hell is that even... Like... And we wonder why we're confused about a lot of things. And we don't know ourselves. And we wonder why we have this, like, modern crisis of understanding on our hands. Where religion doesn't make sense to us anymore. It's too small-minded. Or where, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I think there's a lot of unresolved shit. Because all these different races of people became one crazy version, which is me, and I'm sitting here in the aftermath of all that going like, who the fuck am I? I'm literally sitting in a land that I know damn well only a few hundred years ago, this was not the land that belongs to the people that I come from. But a small percentage of me, a Native American, whatever that means, I don't even know what Native American, but it just says someone belonged here, at least longer than I did. So it's like, it's confusing. It's, the more you think about it, the more when you realize who you are, you're just like, I don't even know what to do with that. You know, like, I don't know if you've ever taken a DNA test, and I know some people have a lot of thoughts about that shit, but whatever. And you find out, like, holy shit, like, when I found out I have Nigerian blood, I was like, what the fuck? How? Where did that come from? I know nothing of that. You know, like, it's just interesting. It's like, wow, it's weird. It's very, very weird. Why is most of my blood a subjugated people, besides the English? You know what I mean? I wonder why. It's interesting, I guess. And to wrap it all together, I guess, to think about what could have been is something you can't really answer, but it's a fascinating thought. Humans could not adapt to the world out there. Could not. Like, on just a level of throw all your fucking clothes off, go out in the woods and just survive with no tools, nothing. Just your hands, your mouth, and that's it. You're not going to survive very long. You're going to have to make a tool eventually. So we've created societies to keep us safe, and that has drastically changed how we work. And in some sense, it has rewired us to totally forget how to be in tune with the nature and the world out there. We did for a while, but it's slowly going away, where less and less people know about the equinoxes. It's important to certain people still. Most of us is not, because they got it. And we create things in our society for so long that most of us don't even understand what it means. Like, there was a time, let's just use a modern thing, where all of us could kind of work on our engine for our car because we needed to. Not many people can do that anymore. They're like, I don't fucking have the skill for this. So when civilization falls away, that's going to be a technology that's gone. Because there's only 10% of people that know what to do. All along the way, there's a lot of traces of that. And we are somehow a result of it. And our civilization has changed us in the point of, I don't know how to know what to eat and what not to eat if you left me the fuck alone. I wouldn't know, like, well, that body, I killed this animal, how do I know how to eat it and not get sick? Why do I get sick but the other animals don't? What the fuck is that about? Why can't I handle that? Have I changed my physiology? Are my organs different now because we've, not been eating animals the way we used to? A lot of fucking crazy questions. But you do it long enough and you start to realize that you're a separate entity from this world, and we begin to question things, because once you become like erect, you look at the stars, it's over. As far as just being okay and living life. doubt and great questions arise from civilization. And ever since then, we've been struggling to understand why we're here. Are we the only animals that ever even wonder that? If you could give other animals sentience and ask them, they'd be like, why are you wondering that? That's a stupid question. Like, that's wondering why your nails grow. That's wondering why you have hair growth. Like, don't wonder that. That's what it is. And maybe we're just the stupidest animal on the entire planet. Because of that, we're sitting there like, why am I here? Like, I don't know. I don't know. But it does kind of bring to question where we've gotten as a civilization from where it began to where we are now. What if there was 50,000 other different roads we could have gone down? Some way better, some way worse. But here we are. We've committed one mistake and it's led us to the point where something as major as what God is was the biggest mistake we've ever made. What if the creation of a God, knowing in the past what it truly represented, which was an archetype of a concept, what if that mistake led people to take thousands and thousands of years of confusing it and making it something bigger? As in, like, think of DC and Marvel. Someone had fun with an idea, but it's turned into a whole fucking thing. Now we have to question what race the people are. Now we have to question what the message is about whatever it is, feminism to homosexuality to, I don't know, other things. You know what I'm saying? Like, it became serious, and now we think it's serious. We think this fucking matters. What if you go back far enough and someone's like, dude, you're taking it too far. It's just, this is a concept. This is something this is like a trigger. It's an archetype. It's like a character creation thing. It's just, it's a being to use to channel something. And we lost the plot long ago. The only reason I feel that way is as I write and I create my story, I just can see where people are going to misconstrue things. Because they're not me. I can see where they're going to be like, oh my God, he's trying to say this here. Oh, I can tell he's trying to say that. Like, every time I'm writing, I can sense where it's going to come. Where someone's going to think I'm trying to say something when in reality, I'm just channeling it from some fucking place, and I don't have a message. It's just, it is the message. That's the way I feel about it, so I just wonder if, like, that's what we've done as a civilization. We've taken it to the point where we think this all really fucking matters. I mean, there are people that think the next iPhone really fucking matters. Or the kind of technology, like the kind of keyboard they use. Or the glasses that they wear. Or the house that they live in. Is it a trailer? That's not a real house. There are people that think that shit matters, and it really doesn't. It's all made up. If we can do it on a small scale of what book you read, I'm pretty sure we can do it on a large scale when it comes to what's more real, science or religion. I'm sure you've noticed all along the way in this video, I've quietly been just plucking apart what I think civilization is to the point where I'm in wonder. And I begin to go like, I don't understand what anything is. I'm confused. I think it's because I realized that nothing really matters. Unless you want it to, then you can make it matter, of course. But what is the truth? That's the big one. Truth. Because when you feel a sense of like, I don't understand, you think to yourself, there's got to be a truth. An ultimate truth. And when you go down that rabbit hole and realize that that doesn't exist, you're like, oh shit. I'm just a human being who's found a bunch of different little, let's just say software programs to run. And now I'm just a collection of different software that all somehow formed together and created me. It's disenchanting in a sense. It's kind of jarring when you think about it, and you start to realize that everything you think, feel, and experience is just something that someone else told you to. It kind of takes you aback, you know? When you begin to realize you are not even you. What was that? When you begin to realize that you're not yourself and you are something else. And you have to undo all that and then get to the point where you're down in the lowest part of yourself and you're like, who is this guy? And you're sitting there going like, dude, I don't know. I don't even know anymore. That's kind of, I'm not going to hold it against anyone for not wanting to do any of that, because that is quite difficult. Very, very difficult, actually. Because there's a lot of things you want to undo, some hardwiring or some software, and you don't even know where to begin because you don't know how that's tangled. You are a collection of tangled cords, and you're just like, I don't even know where this one begins and ends, but it's all in here somewhere. And you're just unraveling all this shit and throwing it to the sides. You have a keep pile and you have a discard pile, and you don't know if you should keep or discard anything. That's your human psyche. And in wondering where all that came, it's thousands and thousands of years of human civilization. Where when it began, as far as I have been told, like in Uruk, Mesopotamia, and obviously before that, but that's the only evidence they really have. Because where the fuck did the people come from? The Caucasus. Like, they didn't just like appear from the fucking ground. They had a civilization too. So like, how did that all come to be? Well, here we are. And there's traces of that shit all throughout what we do. You have to try to know what you know now to know what you should have known then. And I'm not gonna lie, like that can be confusing, and I can understand why no one wants to take that journey. You almost want to just say like, fuck it, I'll just do everything they tell me to do and live my life, and then when I die, it'll be over. Because whatever, I don't know, whatever you believe. Ain't that crazy? Ain't that a crazy idea? Just follow the rules, live the life you're supposed to live, and then when you die, it's over. That's why so many people conform to school when they were kids. They listen to the rules, but there's always those kids that are sitting there going like, what the fuck is this shit? People like that are always going to exist. People probably like you and I that sit and go, I don't understand, this doesn't make any fucking sense to me. This is fucking crazy. While everyone else is smiling and doing some stupid fucking art thing and they think it all matters, and you're like, holy shit, man. This is weird. You know? That's kind of been the experience of my life, and that's why we're here right now. We're doing what we're doing. You can't escape that feeling. As hard as you try to suppress it, you can't. You think you can drink it away, you think you can smoke it away, or distract yourself in your job, or your society, or your religion. Like, you cannot. As much as you want to. That's why there's those people out there that'll be like, I pray so hard, but I feel like I just want to kill myself anyway. It's too hard, and I just like, it's because it's like, what if you're praying to the wrong thing, man? You know? And it's a hard choice, because there's always going to be those people that say, God's quiet, he's in the whisper. Like, you gotta keep going. And they give you that hope, but then there's those other people that say, because it's pointless. And you're just sitting there like, which one? You know? Is this a test from God, or is this a futile effort? I don't know. I don't know. But I do know that it's neither of them. I can say that. But I don't know what the fucking middle is. Will anyone? I don't know. Maybe you will. Maybe you'll fucking figure it out, and then you can write about it or talk about it and change all of the world. I'm just a fool, man. I don't know. Well, there you go. That wasn't so negative, now was it? It was a little bit. But it wasn't so bad. I tried my best. I feel kind of bad, though, in these videos, because I feel like this is what people think I'm like on a day-to-day basis. And I'm like, I fucking am not. But I have to kind of, I don't know. What else can you talk about for a long time? I guess I could talk about being positive for a whole video. Maybe just like, you gotta like make sure you're positive about. I could, but I'm like, that's your job. You need to figure out how to be. I'm just throwing shit out that I've learned, man. I don't know. I'm not gonna tell someone else how to be. I don't even know who they are. Anyway, we did it. God damn. video done, and we shall send this. And what shall we call it? I don't goddamn know. The things you notice along the way. I mean, we talked about civilization. We talked about how we got here, the sunken cost fallacy in a small way. We talked about conformity. We talked about like all that. I don't know. How do you know what to be? We could say that's simple enough and vague enough. That's always my problem, is finding fucking titles for these videos, because I'm always sitting there going like, I don't goddamn know. This is a stream of consciousness session. I don't know what it's about. So yeah. How do you know what to be? That sounds good enough for me.